It started as a sound, not a sound you notice right away, but one that slips between moments. A faint, wet scrape from beneath the bed. At first, John thought it was just the house settling, an old house with old bones making old noises. But soon it came every night like a reminder, a whisper, a shift, a faint sound like long fingernails brushing wood. He refused to acknowledge it for as long as he could. Each night as he lay in bed, cocooned in darkness, he felt it, not a sound, but a presence. The air would shift slightly, a faint draft brushing across the floorboards. The sound came soon after, scritch, 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 closer every night. At first, John ignored it. He pulled the covers tighter, fixed his gaze upon the ceiling, and counted in his head until sleep claimed him. But the sound became bolder, louder. Sometimes it felt like it was responding to him, pausing when he held his breath, starting when he exhaled. Then came the night when a hand, cold and impossibly long, brushed the tip of his toes. He bolted upright, heart crashing. The sound stopped. The room was quiet except for the sound of his ragged breathing. Somehow, he convinced himself it was a dream, wiped the sweat from his chest, and sank back down, whispering aloud, "There's nothing under the bed." That was a mistake. The sound came harder the next night. Not a scratch, but a thud. Then another. The bed shook. The floorboards creaked. John refused to move, refused to look. He pulled the covers over his head like a frightened child and tried to pray, tried to think of anything except the thing lurking just out of sight. The thing under the bed like that. Then came the whisper. Not words. A sound like breath pushed through a throat that hadn't worked in years. It came from right beneath him. "John." A long, gurgling whisper, followed by silence. He shot out of bed, grabbing the flashlight from the nightstand. He aimed it towards the floor. The beam shook wildly until it landed upon the space beneath the bed. At first, there was nothing. No sound, no movement, just darkness. But then, deep in the shadows, he noticed a faint glint. An eye, an impossibly pale, wide eye, staring back, its pupil dilated, its mouth twisted into a gaping smile. John ran. He crashed down the hallway, slammed the door, and sank to the floor, choking down a scream. The sound came then, the sound of long, bony fingers crawling across the floorboards, gaining speed. The sound stopped just on the other side of the door. Then came the knocking. Tap, tap, tap. "Let me in, John." The voice was a broken whisper, dripping like oil. "I only want to play." He refused to move until morning came. When the sun rose, he found long gouges in the floorboards beside the bed. The closet door was ajar. The faint smell of rot lingered in the room. He called a priest. He called a carpenter. He called anyone who might make sense of it. But every night, no matter where he went, the sound followed him. The thing that lived under the bed didn't stay in the bed anymore. It lived in the spaces between moments, between breaths. It watched from closet corners and dark stairways. It whispered through air vents and tapped its long fingers upon walls. John doesn't sleep anymore. Not deeply, not soundly. He sleeps with every light burning, every door barricaded, every mirror covered. Because he knows it doesn't matter where he goes. The thing under the bed is always under something. Always just out of hook, always closer when he forgets to listen, always waiting for that one moment when he lets down his guard.